Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Officer Wilborn from the PSA 6 has something to do. She has to go, so I'm going to put her up first. Officer Wilborn, you want to go ahead, give your report?
Greetings. I'm Officer Wilborn from PSA 6. We cover the housing developments in the 2-6 Manhattanville grant houses. I have the numbers for the 28-day period, and I would like to say crimes are down. We took 6 assaults for the 28-day. 5 of them are domestic incidents, so we won't comment on those. And then one of them was just a dispute between two parties where the complainant sustained a head injury in Manhattanville. So as far as like robberies, burglaries, grand larcenies, all that stuff are all 0 for the 28-day period. So that's a good sign. I mean, obviously, we would like the domestic violence to decrease. We work on that. We have our domestic violence officers constantly doing outreach and offering services and stuff like that to our residents, so we can have a decrease in those domestic incidents. Another thing, I'm always concerned about my seniors around this time. There's a lot of scams that take place, and there's like new scams coming out. So you always got to be conscious and mindful of where you put like your bank card and visitors coming to your house. And although you may think, these type of crimes don't happen, a lot of times it happens to our seniors from family members that visit or friends that visit and might see personal information laying around and take it and actually use it. Right. So I'm talking to my seniors a lot about that, concerned about the holidays coming and just them being careful when they go into like ATM machines and things of that nature. So so far, like I said, the crimes are down. And that's really all we have to report. I'm glad that I don't have a lot to report on as far as the crimes are concerned. We're looking forward to the holidays, and we do a lot of outreach. We haven't heard much yet as far as like the turkey giveaways, but once we do, we always like to look out for our families that are less fortunate around this time. Correct. Once we get the word on, giveaways and things like that, we'll put that information out. And thank you for having us, and I appreciate you, Ms. Carolyn, for
no problem. Could you send me that report, your report?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Are there any questions for Officer Wilburn? None being said. Thanks a lot. I know you have to go.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Good
You're
night,
welcome.
everyone.
I appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Tell them what's the name. Happy Thanksgiving for me.
I
Okay?
will. I certainly will.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
If everybody have an agenda? Does everyone have an agenda?
Can you post it?
I can get Hardkill to put it up. There's a lot of liquor. Excuse me? There's a lot of liquor license on there.
Do we have quorum?
You have what?
Quorum.
No, I didn't call attendance yet. I'll call attendance. Hardkill, I need a list of attendees.
He stepped out.
Okay, I have to wait till he comes back, then I'll let you know. I know Felipe Castillo, he's there. April Adams is excused, and I don't have the list for the rest of them. As soon as he comes back, I'll ask him to post it for me. Remember who? In the meantime, Lyle, are you there?
I'm here, Carol. Good evening. I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you have any update information?
Nothing too major this month. No new updates from us. But I did want to follow up. Just kind of go into conversation about the site visit we had for 145th Street by St. Nicholas. For the past couple of meetings, I know we've discussed just some traffic and some parking issues at the intersection. we did have a walkthrough of the area. It was pretty well attended. 30th precinct was there. Victor was there from CB9, Transit District 3, some local residents, Wendy from Al Taylor's office. We pretty much went down the that corridor pretty much from the charter school and the parking garage to 145th. And we had a really good conversation. As you know, there are a couple of different things that are going on around there. A lot of different feelings depending on who you are. So it was a really good opportunity for everyone just to pretty much state their case and say their piece and just talk about the impacts of what's going on, around amongst each other.
Right.
And I think we got to a good place as far as at least hearing each other out and at least opening up the lines of communication, especially between the residents and TD3. We did see a lot of things on site when we were there, as far as how they park their vehicles. I emphasize that ideally the parking that's supposed to be there is not supposed to be back in angled parking. It's
Right.
supposed to be parallel parking, but the way it's being utilized, it is what it is. Like I said, I think we had a really good conversation overall, and I think that we have a couple of good things coming out of it as far as at least, like I said, keeping lines of communication open between everyone. And I
Right.
think that TD3 understands now the impacts of the parking in the area.
Well,
Um,
that's the corridor 145.
yeah,
Yeah.
right by St. Nicholas, by the
Right.
fish market and everything else. So,
Exactly. Right. But
like I
that
said, we
has
got.
improved.
Yeah, yeah. And while we were there, like I said, we got a chance to see some things in real time, as far as how the officers park, a lot of the double parking concerns, the kids coming out of the charter school, right next to it's the area. So, we all got to experience and see, basically, live through the eyes of all the stakeholders pretty much in that area. So it was a really good conversation. And I think that at least moving forward, being able to just have that connection between, TD3, the 30th precinct, and all the residents and the community board. I think that I think it went really well. So I
Well,
just
we
wanted to
have
thank
another
everybody for
issue.
coming.
Yeah, we have another issue with TD3. Okay.
Mhm.
And that they want to change the parking from residential for the office. And we're not going to accept that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, I highly doubt that DOT would give additional authorized parking to the area. Again, the way that the parking is utilized there currently isn't the way that it's intended to be used. Again, but you see this, at most precincts as far as how cars back in, onto the sidewalk. There was some yellow paint that was on the sidewalk on the west side. Just to reiterate, DOT did not put that there as far as at least like I guess the markings for the precincts, I guess.
Yeah.
So um yeah, like I said, I know TD3 has requests. It's under review with DOT. Um, like I said, I highly doubt that we give them additional space. Um, as to request as far as a parking swap, I think that'd be a tough order too. I mean, basically, just swapping parking would, basically, we'd be taking parking away from another location. I mean, it's just, it's kind of a slippery slope in that sense as far as
Right.
just what's how it is. So, um, you know, we'll see what happens as far, but like I said, at the very least, I think that we had a good conversation come out of this, and we'll get back to the precinct as far as DOT's findings.
Great. Well,
Ultimately.
I'll get back to you with more information. In the meantime, let me call the roll. Felipe Castillo. Hello. Felipe
He's not
Castillo.
here.
Excuse me.
He's not here, Carolyn.
Thank you. Ed
Here.
Mila, Mika, Anna Mika. Anna Mika. Okay. Question.
Here,
Chris Johnson. Chris.
He can't hear you, the train's passing.
Give us a second. The train is passing.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Chris Johnson.
Here.
Um, Solomon, we have
Okay, thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Think she said. Your name.
Solomon, you could move on with the
Did you
liquor
call,
license?
did you call Alyssa?
I'm sorry?
Carolyn? Alyssa, did you call Alyssa?
No, I don't have her down.
Okay,
Sorry, I'll put it down. Alyssa?
yeah. And you didn't call Juan?
No, because I don't have the full list. That's number one. I don't
Okay.
have the full list. It'd be nice if somebody sent me
I
the
have
full.
the full list.
Okay. Yes, send it to me, please, so I'll have it next
Sure I
time.
have. I know April's excused, right?
Right, I excuse the right.
Okay, Felipe's not here, Vanessa's here. Vanessa Kaufman, she was a new ad, Juan is here, Gretchen is here. Michael is here, Chris is here, Ted is here. I don't have, Reverend Morgan Thomas is
Absolutely.
not here. And Alyssa's here, and myself and you, Carolyn. So yeah, we have enough.
We have
We
a
have quorum.
yeah.
Okay, so do we want to call the meeting to order? Can we get a
I'll call the
motion?
meeting order at 6:49.
Okay, thank you. All right. Go ahead, Carolyn. Did we hear anything from the 2630 or
The
TD
3-0 is on assignment. The 2-6, I don't know what happened with her, but I know she did approve those licenses that you sent yesterday.
Yeah, I spoke to her yesterday.
Right, so she approved those.
And I reminded her we had our meeting.
Right. Well, I don't know what happened whether she's on assignment, you know. Once they call you spoke to her and they don't come, we can't question them because they could be out for anything.
Right,
So
right.
either they on assignment, but what I'll do is I'll reach out to her tomorrow to find out, you know, that's all I can do because they were sent to them, so it's hard to say. But we can move on with the liquor license from Stumer. I'm not sure if he got back to you.
Stumer, he called me, yes, we spoke.
So he approved the licenses?
Yeah, and I thought he was going to, email, because I told him it's, you know, to kind of keep you in the loop, the email.
Right.
But I guess he didn't do that. I'll send him a reminder.
No, because what happens when I send it to him, I list them down, then he sends it back to me. Yes, you know, approval.
Right,
But
right.
that's the
Just
way
like
he normally does it.
Officer Cardenas did the same thing.
Right,
So just to give
exactly.
you guys some insight, what we do is, and I think I explained to you when the liquor license applications come in, whether it's new or renewal, we separate it based on the category. If it's a new liquor license application, there's a questionnaire that we have to give to the establishment. And if you ever need to see the questionnaire, you can go into the district office, you can take a look at the questionnaire. So when we're informed of a new liquor license application, the district office will reach out to the establishment, ask them to fill out this questionnaire and return it to us. That gets included with their application. Then what we do is we look through the different city agencies, see if there are any violations. If there are no violations, then we go to the precinct, whether it's a 26th precinct or the 30th precinct. If it's the 26th precinct, it's Officer Ann Cardenas, who is the one that will review it and let us know if there's any issues. So we emailed her yesterday a list of establishments that were pertaining to the 26th precinct. And she replied back saying that they're all good. When it comes to the 30th precinct, that's
It's the
Officer
same thing.
Stumer. Same thing, Officer
The same
Stumer.
thing.
And you guys most of you met him last week. He came with Captain Rose. So same thing, he reviews it, he lets us know if there's any issues on their end. And if there aren't, he'll let us know as well.
But
So we did
Solomon,
that. Yeah,
also, I do the SLA slam.
right,
That's a whole different thing from SLA. Once I go through it and there's no problems listed on that slam base with the 30th precinct, the 26th precinct, I go over with each of the officers, then we approve the application. The last
Right,
resort
and-
is up to SLA. They can either
but you do
deny
that
it
first.
or approve it, huh?
You do that before we discuss it with the precinct, right?
I do the slam before, after I get the application, I do the slam for every one of them.
Right,
And then,
right.
but the precinct has already done theirs. I'm just
Okay.
checking after them that we send it again for their
Yeah, we're just
approval.
verifying.
Right, we verify that they're approved, right? There are
Just
those
out
that,
of curiosity, who are we? Because it's not us.
Right, so what happens is, any application that comes into the district office. So Yutha, Akil, when Madison was there, Madison would review it. If it's a new liquor license application, like I said, they would see it's new. They would say, okay, this is a new application, let me send them the questionnaire so that they have it on file. Every
Mhm.
application, the paper copy stays in the district office on file. Then what they do is they scan it. And then that scanned copy is what either Ms. Thompson or myself will review. And then, so that's for new applications. Renewal applications, they don't have to do the questionnaire, because the questionnaire is relatively new. We started it last year, Carolyn, we started it?
last
early
year.
this-
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, so, renewals mean they have already had a liquor license. What
They don't
we're-
have to do it again.
They don't have to do it again, the application process is some little more streamlined. Because they don't have to include as much information, they just have to say, we're renewing, what we had existing. If there are
Yeah, the
any
renewal
changes, they would let us
application is
know.
because of the fact that their license is coming up. It's a time thing for the, it's reason why they renew them.
Right,
It's a
So
time
what's
thing that they have to renew. If it's a
include
2-year application, they have to
all the
renew
committee
within that
members
time. If it's
in
a
this,
year,
or how
they
did
have to
you
renew.
guys decide to be the two of you?
I think traditionally it's been the chairs that do it. But I do think more people should be involved in the process. So, I've been doing it with Carolyn, but I think it'd be a good opportunity to maybe someone else do it with Carolyn. Just
The
so it's
bottom
not
line
just.
The bottom line for that purpose is that you're a chair and the co-chair is the one that does the process. We report it back to the committee. It's not sharing that you share the information like you're doing, but we do the process of the application. That's
Right,
always
what,
had,
what,
yeah, that's
I
always
know,
has been.
that's what I told Chris, is that traditionally that's how it's been done.
Right, that's the policy of the board.
And Hakil, right now it's Hakil who's helping us with making, with the paperwork, with the administrative paperwork. So he's the one that's letting us know, okay, a new application just came in. Or he's scanning them and he sends it out to us. And so he's part of that process as well. It's
Right.
not- Yeah,
So for an existing company, do they have to get a liquor license before selling it? Or if their umbrella company already sells liquor in, let's say, one location, but they're just opening up here? Do they still have to go through the?
so let's just, an example, right, hypothetical.
What
example.
was the question, Calvin?
He's saying if you have a company or an establishment that has a parent company. I was gonna give the example of Shake Shack, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Shake Shack has many different locations.
Right,
They have to apply for the liquor license application per each location.
right.
Regardless if their first store has a liquor license.
It
if they
doesn't
have a
matter.
Second store in our district, they have to reapply. It'd be considered.
Each application is different from each store.
Right,
So the reason why I ask is that I think Hex and Company has multiple locations, but that they've been operating in Morningside Heights and that, they sell alcohol, right? I think they sell beer.
Mhm.
They've been doing it for at least 2 years.
Okay.
So I don't know, that's what.
Yeah, I'm confused as to why they're a new application as well. That was one of my questions.
I would have to look at the original. Do you remember offhand? Or
What,
if you have it in
what,
front of you?
what is he saying?
So he said Hex and Co? The
Yeah.
Hex and Company?
They've been selling
Right.
beer for as long as they've been in business. They moved locations like in 2021, I think. But they just moved down the street and everything just transferred. But they've had their beer and wine license for as long as I can remember.
Right.
Well, if the license only, it depends on the license. If it's a 2-year license, regardless, they have to renew it every 2 years.
Right, but it's
doesn't
listed as a new application.
Excuse me?
She said it's listed as a new application.
Well, this application is it's a change. That's why it's a new application. It's a new
So
application.
maybe they're
They make
including liquor
on the
now.
application, I think is a change, a corporate change. That makes it a new application. They're changing one of the offices, so that makes it a new application.
Yeah, it seems like having transparency to that sort of information would be
Yeah, I
valuable.
kind of feel like we're blinded
Mhm.
and we're just getting stuff. So
Right.
I think there's some discussion that needs to be had maybe with Victor. I'm not really,
What are you saying, Chris?
yeah, I think we're all saying the same thing. It's a bunch of information that you and Solomon are handling. We don't even know when these things come up. We don't
Well,
get
that's
anything
why
in
he's
advance.
explaining it to you now
Carolyn,
for
I'm
each
speaking.
application.
Carolyn, we don't get anything until this evening. We don't know what's
Exactly.
a liquor license, what's beer and wine.
Chris, what I'm saying is that we get this information. We did 10 applications last night, having to go through them last night. That's why they're listed today. That's how you got them today. Because when we get them late, we send them out the next day, and that's how you got it. Okay? We don't get this in advance. Some of these licenses that come in maybe the end of September, which we have to go through, which we did in October. Okay? Those that come in late October, we do in November, which is what we're doing now. So
you're
therefore,
saying
we
all
got
of
them
these
yesterday.
licenses came
We
in
have to put
last
it on the
night?
list today.
They,
And that's why he's
they,
explaining it to
they
you.
became finalized because that's when we got them
Exactly.
back from the precincts.
So that's why
Last
he's
night.
explaining
But
it
you-
to
I
you.
was here with
But you had the
Akil
applications before then.
before,
Yeah,
yes. Some of them came
lately.
before, some of them came recently, yeah.
Right. So when we get them, we have to put them up there. These applications
It
came
seems
in
like
late
there's a way that
October.
we can have some sort of centralized hub where the precinct can be looking at them at the same time that we're looking at them, like. I mean, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but
My
What-
understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carolyn,
Yeah, go ahead.
whether it's a new application or a renewal comes in. If it's a new one, they need the questionnaire. When they get
Yeah,
the
they do.
questionnaire back, that's when Akil will scan it, and that's when he'll send it out.
Exactly.
right, and
When
when at that scanning process, if it were to go up to the cloud or something, that we would all be able to then look at at the same time, I think that would be helpful, because then a notice can be sent to the precinct.
No,
or
because it's a whole application.
Everything.
Right,
You know
I
what?
see what
I'm
you're
gonna
saying.
make this simple. I'm gonna make this simple next month, okay? It's a whole application which is not to be shared because it's a board thing. It goes from NYPD to the board. Okay, that application, listing the application as they listed here now, the addresses and what it is what you're sharing to them now. But to bring those applications to the board to explain that to them, that I would have to get from chair and find out from SLA, are we allowed to do that? Because that
So I
application,
think,
those are private applications.
so I think for the purpose of this evening, I think we all have some concerns that we probably want to chat about, but
Well,
maybe.
I'm
let's
sure
just
you
go
do, but that's
forward
why
with-
he's explained it to you.
So I
I mean,
think
I'm not,
let's go forward with
this is not
and-
anything that we're hiding. This is the way they listed it. This is the way we have done it for years. It hasn't changed. That we're
So,
explaining it to you, what the
So I
situation is.
think what Chris is trying to say, Chris and Gretchen and Michael, is they'd like to have a little more visibility into the applicants, right?
Well, the applicants don't have to come. Their job is, if we really want an applicant to come, we can invite them. We don't have to invite them all. We can invite 2 this month, 3 the next month. It depends. But they don't have to come once they put that application in. But it doesn't stop us from inviting them. We can invite them.
Yeah, and we do
Any
extend an
renewal
invite
or
to
any
new
applicant, we can invite
applicants.
them.
Like Cordial came the last month,
Right.
to talk.
Exactly.
So, but again, not all of them do.
So I think
And,
for the purpose of this evening, Gretchen, let's just go forward with this and then maybe we can sidebar discuss.
At
what
another
are we
time.
thinking
Yeah,
At another time.
right. We can
Okay.
do that. And we also, next month, if we get them, if it's a new application, we can invite them to come to the December meeting. Okay, to
I don't think it
explain
has
to
to be
them.
that cumbersome, I just think. Having more transparency and a more collaborative approach to the process, and even if it's the process that, it's how it's been done for years and years and years, I think.
Yeah,
We can
improve it.
strive to make this process more professional all the way around, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah, we can invite them. And like I said, you have a right
And
to
that's not what I'm
ask
suggesting,
questions.
Ms. Thompson.
What'd you say?
It's part of it.
Yeah, But I'm just saying, that wasn't my suggestion.
No, I didn't hear what she said.
So, yeah,
Don't worry about it, let's continue with the agenda.
Well, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, but I'm saying, just keep in mind, we can invite of them next month for the December meeting. If we get any more applications, we can invite them, and you can ask questions then to the new applicants or renewal applicants. So we can move on.
Okay, so the two new liquor license applications that came up were Salento Colombian Cafe and Restaurant, 132 Hamilton Place. And I think going forward, maybe we'll put why it's new. Maybe we can add that, just to give some visibility there.
Yeah, also
On
indicate
the
beer,
Salento,
wine, or liquor.
Yeah.
Solomon,
Yeah,
on Salento and the Hex, because of the corporate change, they can come, we can invite them to the December meeting.
no, they don't need to come, it doesn't need to be a bigger hurdle for them.
yeah. No, I think they just wanna know, is it beer, wine, and liquor, or is it just beer and wine?
On the application is beer, wine, and cider. Some of them
Cider,
have
right.
beer, wine, cider, and liquor. His is beer, wine, cider, and liquor.
Yeah, but so Chris was just asking, could we put that in the agenda, just so if we need to know?
Well, it's not on the agenda because you don't have to list it on the agenda. It's what, what I used to do, which is different than where you did it. What I put down is like Geisha will say, we don't put all that down, but it doesn't mean that it's more paperwork. It's beer, wine, liquor. That's not a problem. If I go back to the old way, the way I did it, I'll do it that way again. That is beer, wine. Usually that goes to the precinct, beer, wine, liquor, cider, but I can add it. I'll do the old way and put it on the agenda going forward.
Okay,
Yeah, I can do it going
and-
forward. It's just a little bit more paperwork, that's all.
right. Okay, and Hex and Co was the second one, so does anyone have any issues with either of these two?
I would just love to know what Hex and Co is applying for. If they're adding liquor or like what the.
Sure, if someone wants to run next door and just
I'll go.
take a look at, just ask, Akil for the folder, he'll know
Thank you.
what I'm talking about. Okay, while she's doing that, the renewal liquor license applications, you can see one is Geisha Sushi. They have multiple addresses there because they are in multiple locations on the same block. But they have to list all of them.
It's 3 stores, Solomon.
Yeah, 3 stores, I know.
Right.
They're all right next to each other.
Yeah, so but it's one application.
Right, one application. Then you have La Flor de Broadway, that's on, right here on 137th and Broadway. You have Nussbaum and Wu, that's down on, I think, 113th and Broadway. Larissa Kitchen and Bar,
One for,
I think it's
143, yes.
143 in Hamilton Place.
142.
Equatorina Restaurant and Corp, I actually think it's right.
143 in Amsterdam.
143 in Amsterdam, okay. And the Honeywell.
21 is 149th and
I don't-
Broadway.
One,
All of these have no issue.
Home Public, right next door.
oh, it's on, okay, next door to Honeywell.
The Honeywell is 3 stores really. It's Harlem Public, the Honeywell, and the Wallington. The one application, 3 stores.
Okay,
But none of these issues have no issues with SLA or the SLAM report or the precincts.
and that's why we listed the precincts there, so we know.
But keep in mind, the precinct gets these applications before we do. Once they
Right.
get them, we get the second part, then we approve it again with the precinct. If the precinct denies it, we deny it.
Okay, and then corporate change was Shake Shack, oh, thank you. Shake
You're
Shack
changing-
was,
That's a member of the corporation, if they changing,
right,
so they have to put an application in.
so here's Hex and Co.
Huh?
I don't know if I can pass this around, but you can see Hex and Co here. It looks like they are changing to liquor, wine, beer, and cider now.
So they're
Right.
adding spirits.
Yes.
Okay, which makes sense. It used to be a full bar in there.
They have full spirit.
No, the location before them. So they used to be in a really small location down next to, the Heights. And they moved to a larger location. I think that bar used to be West End Bar. It's huge, massive.
West End.
Right, so they actually have the wooden bar, like there's 2 bars and everything, but they've just been serving coffee and beer and wine.
What application is that?
This is Hex and Co.
Yeah. What
But
about
it
it?
would make sense that they would sell spirits out of that location.
No, they were just wondering why it was considered new. Because they've been selling beer and wine.
Yeah,
but
they asking
now
for liquor.
Now they're asking for liquor.
Right, yeah, so they have to put, but that's considered a new application.
Yeah, yes, that's what I
It's
was
considered a new
explaining.
application. Keep in mind,
Okay.
whatever a restaurant, yeah,
Ms. Thompson, I sent you an email whenever you get a chance, you can check it. I sent you an email regarding, the Grange. They
okay,
did apply.
Patrick's on the hill.
Yeah, Patrick's on the Hill, but they applied under 1635 LLC and it was objected. This was in June.
All right. But are they selling?
Yes, right now, yeah.
so what
Even
I'm
though they
saying,
got- even though it
was
was
the
rejected?
application, they sent it in, when did they send it?
That was in June.
Of this year?
Yeah, so this year. It went before the board. Actually, they sent it in May. It went before the board,
The last,
June,
June,
yeah,
the last
June.
one, the last.
the
general.
last general board before summer
That
hiatus.
was, they came last year with a stipulation that they were to come back with the changes that were made. They never came back. Okay, so then they sent it under the address because there was a lot of problems with the Grange. Okay, so they never came back to us. So they submitted the application under the address and it was submitted and approved.
No, it was objected.
It was rejected. So now again, they're open and they're selling.
Yeah, you're selling and they're operating now under permit as Patrick's on the Hill.
So Patches on the Hill has an on-site application.
Has a has a retail, but it's not premise retail. It's to sell, but not to consume on site. So remember, Patrick's on the Hill is what came before us, the husband and wife.
Right, I know.
Yeah, and somehow they got this retail permit and they're operating and serving food this evening.
Okay, so I will have the 2-6 look into that. That's all I can do.
Yes,
If it's illegal, if shutting them down is not the easiest thing to do. Because SLA would have to shut them down if they're doing it illegal. You can report it to SLA, they can send an inspector up there, but shutting them down is not easy unless it's illegal. And that will take a while. But
And we
I'll ask-
haven't had any new, they didn't submit a new app.
Right, and I haven't seen any new application either under Patrick's or anything else. And until that application, as far as I'm concerned, they're operating illegally because the board hasn't approved it. It hasn't come before committee. But what Kalkio can do is invite them to the December meeting so we can ask questions and find out why.
Anybody else wanted to see? I'm fine. Are you curious? Hello, hey, Felipe is here now, Carolyn.
Okay, Kalkio is there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Kalkio, call, Patrick's at the Hill tomorrow. Invite you to the December meeting.
Okay.
We have questions to come to the meeting, why they're open, yeah, invite them to December's meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
Will do.
Felipe wrote a resolution. It's a 10-minute conversation with this resolution because DOT has to respond to it. So let's hear from Felipe.
Yes, hi, everybody. Hi, good evening.
Evening.
I'm Felipe Castillo. A little bit impromptu, I was just chatting with somebody who came to the meeting and just left, so he was telling me about what he wanted, but let me tell you about one of the resolutions that I was thinking about, recently writing. And which one is this? This is the,
So, well, yeah,
oh, my bad.
yeah, we just wanna finish up
I thought I
the,
had the floor.
from the liquor licenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
So
tell you
we're at-
something after that.
So we were, the new liquor licenses, the Salento and the X, any issues there, any objections? No, okay. Renewal liquor license applications, Geisha, Florida Broadway, Nussbaum and Woo, Larissa, Equatoriana Restaurant, the Honeywell. Any objections to those? Okay. Do I hear any objections? No?
No,
Okay. So they we'll push them to, the executive board meeting next Thursday. Oh, the one I forgot, Shake Shack, corporate change, just to let you know what a corporate change is. In this particular case, they are changing
A board
the-
member.
The board members. So they have a CEO, COO, CFO, an LLC member listed. They're making changes to that. So when they make a
One,
change. they have
one
to-
board member is leaving.
Yep. So any objections to that?
no.
Okay. So we'll push this to Gen Exec. And then
What
we
you
can
say,
move
Solomon?
on. Yeah, everything passed. We're gonna-
Okay, that's not a
it's gonna go
problem.
to-
So
to exec.
Felipe has 10 minutes.
Okay, so you have some new business?
Do I have the floor?
You have the floor, you have the floor.
I got really excited, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so I sent two documents, I don't know which one we get to talk about. One about the Cherry Walk and then one about 155th Street. I can talk about both, I can talk about one.
So I know that the copier was messed up, right? So I don't know if you were able to print, were you able to print anything?
No, I wasn't. So which one do we have? I can just talk about one and defer the other one.
Okay, so
That
let's
way
talk
we
about, talk about one.
Talk about Cherry Walk.
Cherry Walk,
Cherry
Cherry Walk, there we go. Democracy in action. All right, so the Cherry Walk is a path along the Hudson River. It's a recreational path for cyclists, for walkers, runners. It's currently closed. I think it's owned and maintained by the New York City Parks Department. And it's closed essentially from 125th, and please correct me if I'm wrong, interject, to 96th Street, I want to say, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially. So this cuts like a vital, north-south route for a lot of us, who live here and a lot of us who are like coming through. And one thing that is not essentially great is like sort of the coordination between, the different departments in the city, and what is left to be desired is a path, literally a path, where we could do the north-south trajectory. And I was speaking with some DOT representatives from New York State, and there is an exit off the Henry Hudson Parkway that goes from about 118th Street to 125th that carries two travel lanes of motor traffic for passenger cars only. And it has a volume that does not require two travel lanes. And what I am proposing is to take a look at whether this excess travel lane can be converted into something where runners can go, with a proper separation, of course. A Jersey barrier like is already done on the Brooklyn Bridge, or like what's done on the
Roosevelt Island.
Island, like it's been done in the city, like this is nothing sui
Solomon.
generis.
If I can interrupt, I think there's one minor spot that you
Yeah.
missed over, that the existing detour right now requires you to, let's say you're going from the district, it requires you to go all the way up the hill from 125th Street. So either St. Clair or Broadway,
Correct.
along Riverside where there's a lot of traffic, and then down into the park, and then down another hill. So it creates quite a lot of hills, and there are a lot of pinch points for that detour along the way. So this solution would basically keep the detour off of the road, which is where the vehicles are, and keep the detour in the park and cut the hills basically in half.
Yeah.
And when you're on a bike, the hills are significantly
Yeah.
more of a
and-
burden than you
And
think.
Well-
it's a space that's underutilized.
Yeah, it's underutilized right now.
As of right now, and
Can I
And
make a recommendation?
But
Carolyn, I
Felipe-
think Carolyn, you might agree with this. Can this come to parks? Because
So-
we have aren't you on parks?
no.
Solomon.
Because
Yes,
he's gonna have to go to parks. Parks have to be brought into that.
this is parks. parks.
Yeah,
Or
Parks
between
is,
the-
Parks is gonna
the
have to
DOT
be brought
project.
into it.
So here's the thing, so what I'm talking about, the space
Yeah.
that I'm talking about using is owned and maintained by New York State Department of Transportation.
But I think that's
So-
that way is
Well,
on the
that's-
timeline where it'll be finished faster
that's the
than this.
state.
Yeah,
Right, and that's the state, I'm
Yeah,
just bringing it
that's
up
the
because,
state.
you know, I hear you, Caroline. The issue is that it's also a transportation issue. So I'm bringing it up here. And that's fine if there's no, you know,
Yeah, but that's,
if, you know, if
it's,
the
isn't that
recognition
New York
is
State,
elsewhere as well.
DOT? That's
Sorry,
the New York State DOT?
New York State DOT, correct, yes.
The cut through
Yeah.
would be New York State DOT. The current detour is under the purview of New York City DOT.
Right.
Okay,
So that's
so
why.
Lyle, you have an answer for that?
Transportation.
Actually,
if it-
the current detour is under the purview of parks. So Carolyn's right. As far as
Yeah, you
any
have to go through Parks,
detours,
yeah.
this is Parks' responsibility, not DOT.
Right,
So
but
we have to go
also-
through
so
Parks.
Lyle,
And that
Lyle,
area,
One at a
yeah.
time, one at a time.
Yeah, sorry, Lyle, it's not
Gotta
just
go,
about
go ahead,
the
Lyle.
detour.
Gotta go
It's
through
not just
Parks.
about a detour, it'd be not, what I'm proposing is also permanent,
Yeah,
so.
You gotta
Well,
go
yeah, well,
through Parks.
yeah, as Carolyn mentioned, that's state property that you're mentioning, it sounds like. So, yeah, that would most likely have to
It's
involve
Parks.
them. I don't really know how much jurisdiction the city DOT would have over that, but this sounds more like a Parks and the state DOT
This is
conversation,
Parks.
honestly.
it just doesn't feel like this meets the
Ted here.
DOT requirements for a
Okay,
bike
Ted, I
lane
saw your hand.
detour. Right, you go from having a fully protected bike lane to
got it.
something that has like
You
3
got it, sir.
signs that says that there's a
Oh, it is.
detour and absolutely no protection. And the DOT has a requirement for when a bike lane is inaccessible due to construction, and it seems like this detour doesn't remotely meet that criteria.
Well, again, Parks is responsible for the Cherry Walk. DOT assists if Parks reaches out. I mean, there was some consultation with DOT, but ultimately the Cherry Walk is the jurisdiction of Parks. So any conversation first and foremost, as far as any detours or changes to that location, would have to go through them, not through us, regardless.
That's what I said.
according to Wesley, and that's why I would say this comes into parks and then just bounce off of Wesley and see what the possibilities
said-
are, to be scheduled
You
as a
gotta go,
project.
you
Yeah,
gotta go through
so he
Parks.
comes into parks.
Yeah, and then,
That's good.
It's a
so.
Parks. I got you, Ted. Go ahead, Ted.
Is
Yeah,
Heather and you?
Uh,
Yeah.
One at a
I'm
time.
listening to the folks who are talking about cutting 2 lanes to 1 lane.
Go
That is something that needs to have a lot of work done on it during the rush hour, because downtown during rush hour, it's very slow traffic. And so we have to have folks who have done their homework, which means getting up probably a little early and having done the assignment. We don't want a situation where we had, like going across the viaduct, where it took us, I don't know how many years to finally get something worked out.
Correct.
So there's a lot of homework that needs to be done, and it's not something that's easy.
No, it's not.
I don't think anyone suggested that.
Yeah,
Do we know, Lyle, do you know by any chance how long the Cherry Park construction is supposed to last?
That I don't know. That
I think about
I
3
think it's
years.
yeah, I'm not sure.
About 3
specific-
years.
Yeah, I would say Parks would
No,
probably.
no, it's not, it's slated, if the website is correct, it's slated to reopen by June of
yeah,
next year.
it's sooner than later, that's what I'm saying, this is.
But my point is, we don't know, that's not this committee, and I brought this up in the general board meeting, that this $1.5 to $2 million project is happening in our district. We don't know what the scope is. We don't know the timeline. It's been pushed. We don't have really any information about this project. We didn't have any warning. We had about 2 weeks warning that it was gonna close.
So this is discussed in the Parks Committee and Wesley does
Right.
provide updates.
Oh,
And
God.
it's not an unknown, it's a significant project and it went with a lot of, there was preparation wrapped around it. I would suggest and recommend bringing this to Parks
has
and I
to go
see
back to
Heather's
Parks.
on and both of us would be
You already gotta go
interested,
back to
so
Parks.
let's have that
Gotta go back to
conversation.
Yeah, I just,
And when do you
God, I
guys
mean,
meet?
over and over again, the same thing
We
over
met
and over
yesterday,
again.
so it'll be the first Tuesday of the month.
but I would just like, I'd like to reiterate what I said last week or last month, which is that more cyclists ride that bike lane on a daily basis than go across 135th Street. So while it may be Parks, it has a critical, it's a part of our critical infrastructure for transportation. And so I think, you know, if Parks is having this conversation in a bubble, then I would like to think that they would also be saying, all right, let's make sure that transportation is looped in on this, because.
So Lila is correct,
Yeah.
that
Solomon.
discussion,
Yes,
Move the meeting on.
okay.
I'm sorry, I'm being.
Do you wanna finish your thought?
No, that was it.
Okay,
Clearly it's not.
all right,
Everyone else
so
is-
you'll take it to Parks.
Absolutely.
You still, you
yeah.
can let them know,
Yeah,
you
gotta go
discuss it
Parks.
in our committee, and that's what we suggest,
Thank you so much.
okay? Was there a second thing you wanted to say?
No, I can discuss that one next.
We're next up, we're up to them.
Sorry?
We're up to them.
I mean, no, I would, love if other people want, I spoke a lot, I wanna hear from other people.
No, you can, I just wanted to talk about the electric or motor powered
Mhm.
scooters.
Right,
Because I know you want an update on that.
yeah,
I think it's pretty definitively a state issue. And so part, there's two issues, right? So one is the motor scooter. And then one, or the other issue are e-bikes. So those are two separate issues in part because it really depends on state law, what defines a vehicle. So right now, an e-bike is not considered a vehicle, hence you do not need insurance. And then within the motor vehicles, or sorry, within the motor vehicles like moped, for example, right? They have classifications, so there's 4 classifications. There's class A, class B, class C, and then there's electric motor mopeds, right? So it goes in the opposite order, so class C, that's like the fastest, they go from 20 to 40 miles, I believe. Class B is slightly slower, and then class A is the least slow, or the slowest, sorry. And for that one, you don't need insurance as well, so really, if there wants, or if people want a resolution, I think it should be 2 aspects. So one is further clarifying New York law 39, which basically goes into the retail sale of e-bikes, right? And basically creates restrictions. So
What is he
perhaps,
saying?
he's talking about e-bikes, the
Okay,
the
yeah, I couldn't
sale,
understand him.
the retail selling of e-bikes.
yeah, I'll speak about it. Okay. So in regard to those motor vehicles, that's already established law that was passed last year. It's now being newly enacted. So perhaps it could just be an amendment or to request for example, one of the precincts to just make more frequent stops of people who are operating these motor vehicles to determine which class they're in and to determine whether or not they are required to have insurance or not. Now, the second issue would be, well, why don't you just simplify the process, right? Like, why don't you just clump in e-bikes, just make it a vehicle, get rid of the classification system, just require that everybody have insurance, right? That's a whole separate issue. That would be a whole separate amendment that you would have to go to state legislatures to change the law. And that would include many parties, right? Like,
Michael,
yes,
we did a resolution on exactly what you're talking about, insurance, about e-bikes and so on. Last year, we did a resolution about bikes being insured. It passed through the committee. It passed.
Well, it didn't pass, Carolyn, we did it, but we didn't get At the time, we didn't have quorum.
Right, then we did
So
it
we needed more
again.
discussion.
Right, yeah, okay, then, yeah, if you write a resolution to that, yeah, we can put
Yeah,
it
so
through again.
what Michael's explaining is, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
is you're saying we should break it up
Yes,
really into two pieces, two different resolutions.
right.
One-
One's much easier,
Right,
which is just support and strengthen local law 39, just ask the police to enforce it, right? Just really emphasize it. That's the easy one, right?
Mhm.
Which doesn't even really require a resolution to stop it. Precinct, right?
right.
The other one is gonna take a long time, which is to change the classification.
Exactly,
Because right
the
now,
second one, right.
e-bikes. Yeah,
So
e-bikes
Michael,
and,
you write up the first one about the e-bikes, okay? You write the
Right.
resolution, and then we'll submit it to the
Okay.
executive committee. When
okay,
can
Yeah,
we
I
get
mean,
that?
you
when
would,
can we
bring
get
it
that done?
here, we would discuss it, see if there's any
Right,
changes.
exactly.
And if not, then we'll
okay,
take it to exec.
Sure.
Can you use the original, the resolution that has not passed as,
Of course,
yeah.
No,
use that as
exactly.
information.
okay.
This man knows everything.
yeah, let me give it to you now.
Keep his mouth shut.
So I hope that helped and
Mhm.
sorry if that was long-winded or not there.
The last time we had, when we talked about bikes on the sidewalk, right? We
Right.
brought it up to the 3O before. And they told us that, they really don't have the manpower to
Exactly.
enforce it. So, we could say something in writing, saying that they should enforce like, the New York Law 39. Cause at the very least, when we create a resolution, it gets copied and sent to city council, to our local councilman. So at least they're being made aware, like, hey, this is an issue that the community cares about. And, they can kind of lean with their political power to try to see if there's
If they
something
like
they
it.
can do, to
If they
advocate
agree.
for the enforcement. But that's what we've heard before because, a lot of people are annoyed that people ride.
Well, if Michael writes it
Bikes
up,
on
it can
streets.
go to the council member. We send it to the councilman. It's for him to approve it or not to approve it. What he writes, the resolution, it's approved by us and the executive. It goes to the GB, then it goes to the council member. It's left in his hands, and we don't know whether he approved it or not till we get word.
Yeah.
And the only way
Monique,
we
you
know
have
that it's approved, that he'll let Yutha know, then Yutha will announce that he approved it.
I think
That's how it
Monique has her hand raised, Carolyn.
I
Whose hand is
do.
up?
Hey, everyone. Sorry
Yeah.
Hi, Monique.
was late, but I've been listening. I know we talked about the e-bike issue a lot because it's
Right.
a issue. I just don't recall offhand, and please remind me, as we're talking about some of these issues right now, the other concern is the way these bikes are stored. I know
Right,
we had a
correct.
discussion, and I'm trying to think of where we went with that, because with the recent rash of fires in our CB, some of these fires have been started because of the improper storage of these e-bikes with these lithium batteries that have exploded. So I just
I
wanted to
think we
mention
passed
that
the
also.
reso, Monique. We
Huh?
passed the reso on that.
We did, right?
We did pass the reso
Oh,
on that.
I think it was a battery,
It was passed. It passed.
yeah.
The reso was, it passed. We
I
Okay.
think
already
it
saw
actually it might have came out of health.
it did.
did,
It
right?
did come out of health. It
Oh,
came
it
out from
did.
Laquita.
All right. I
And it
wasn't
passed.
sure,
It did
but
pass.
okay. I wasn't sure if there was a way to tie that into this to what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
Right.
Just
I think
strengthen
there
it.
is. Monique, I want to support what you're saying. I think there is a way. If I'm not mistaken, didn't the DOT roll out a program for battery storages
Yeah.
I don't know.
on the street? I think on the Upper West Side, they have
Yeah,
Like a pilot?
like a pilot where people can exchange batteries.
yeah,
think
there's
that's-
a pilot, there's a pilot program that DOT does have for delivery e-bikes. I think there should be some information on the DOT website. There are lockers that are in designated areas throughout the city. There are a few in North Manhattan. I don't think we have any in CB9 currently. I think they're in CB12 and maybe Upper West Side. But we do have a pilot program currently going on at least as far as e-bike locker battery storage, so long
Yeah,
as,
could you
but I think
check
it's primarily
in?
for delivery bikes and then delivery workers.
It'd be great if you could check in to see why we don't have one here yet.
Right, that's
I-
definitely an issue, so if we don't have it, that, and since we passed it, that should be something else we can follow up on to reinforce what we've already passed.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, if I can reach out to my colleagues to see if they would be receptive to possibly having a locker somewhere within CB9. Like I said, it's primarily for delivery workers, you know, to store e-bike batteries. But yeah, I can definitely ask on the community
So
board's
by
behalf.
all means, please by all means do that, okay?
Sure, no
Thank
problem.
you.
You're welcome.
Gretchen,
Lyle, I'm gonna
Gretchen
call
has
you
her hand up.
tomorrow, okay?
No, yeah, I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
just send, yeah, Carol, yeah, I was gonna say, just send me an email, or if anything, Carolyn, we'll touch base tomorrow, and no
I'm gonna
problem.
give you a call tomorrow. Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Go ahead,
Are
Gretchen.
there any
I just want to
other
touch on
questions?
something that Juan briefly referenced that I think is critical to this entire thing, and that is these bikes that are illegal are being sold out in the open very easily, and with the illegal batteries as well.
We already know that.
And so I think, you know, really, yes, it's great, we need more enforcement. Yes, if we see people riding them improperly, we need that enforcement, but the more we can do to make it less convenient to buy them. Cause I know it's also a very, like, it's a predatory thing to a certain extent that the delivery workers go in there to buy a bike and they want to buy a legal bike and they're told that the bike that they're buying is legal, and then they find out after they have it that it's not. So I'm just taking a
Enforcement is one of the
multi-pronged.
biggest
Yeah,
problems.
and based on what Michael was
Yeah,
saying is that
enforcement is one of the
e-bikes
problems.
are not considered vehicles.
Correct.
Therefore, the drivers don't need to have insurance.
Right, and so some of these electric mopeds are actually less expensive than a
We're
legitimate
not gonna
e-bike.
insure them.
And so they sort of downgrade them and say, oh, yeah, this one's legal too, you can buy this one. And then they buy it, they're riding it, then they get pulled over. They don't know that they're supposed to have a license and registration on it and all that stuff. Cause they're selling it without even telling them, like, you can't drive a car off a car lot without filling out the registration paperwork.
Mhm,
These guys are just selling them basically under the table.
right.
But
Yes.
some of the bikes are licensed. If you look at the bottom, some of them are.
Yeah, they just seem to be licensed.
They have NYC license on some of them
Well,
are
they've been
licensed.
cracking down on the license plates because they were using the souvenir license plates for a while. So again, it like goes back to the enforcement side of it, that if the NYPD is not gonna catch every single one, but if the word is out on the street that they're cracking down on it, then it's amazing how much.
Right.
The enforcement problem is the problem, the enforcing it.
Bing, bing,
They
bing,
don't have the
bing.
manpower.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Solomon, move the
Vanessa
meeting
had
on.
her hand up, Carolyn. Go
Who's,
ahead.
whose hand up?
Vanessa.
Oh, I didn't see her hand. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Thank you, thank you both. So wouldn't, a part of the process be the same way they have to have signage in the store saying X, Y, and Z, this is what this is for, this is what this can, wouldn't that be a place to also have the information? Because if you look at some of these stores, and I'm only holding this, but I have dental work today and it hurts. If you look at some of these stores, there are some of them that resellers that are saying we are a authorized seller of X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
So it will be two, not only to have that notification of what is and is not legal based on 20, 30, 40 mile per hour, whatever is considered non-licensed, insurable, and legal, and what's not, as well as educating using these marquees that we have. And maybe even going as far as if there are legal shops that are selling them, or if they're selling them from a shop that has, been designated as a legal shop, but they're doing something underhanded,
How do we know?
going after it that way as well.
Right, so yeah, I hear you about the educational awareness, I think that's a big piece of it. Most people, they'll buy a product because it's cheaper, right? But they don't know that it hasn't gone through regulatory standards, the
Exactly.
proper testing, and that's when, after some time, wear and tear, there's a problem.
Yeah, and that's the problem too, because the illegal bikes, the ones with the bad batteries that explode when part of the fires. Those are the cheaper ones, right? And so what people want, if they're doing delivery, they want something that's cheap. So that's the reason why those battery swap programs are good, because. You know, it's almost like if you have a gun, right, and you turn the gun and nobody knows you're turning the gun, right? It's a good program that's a net positive for society.
Right.
So Carolyn, is it possible for the monthly meetings to get some statistics from the FDNY regarding the number of fires related to lithium batteries in the district?
I can ask them.
Yeah.
I can ask the fire marshal.
Oh, awesome. So I don't think we get that information. I don't think,
No, we
And I
don't.
think-
We
I
don't get
I
it.
don't think they publish it either. They
Yeah.
probably don't publish.
They
it on
do
their site.
publish it, but I forgot what their website is, but it is published. It's.
If it's
has-
published, I probably can find it.
yeah, I thought I
Well,
would
yeah.
find it.
Yeah, it may not
Anyway.
get down to the district level, but you could probably do the zip codes.
Yeah, but I get it from the
Or
marshal, the fire
the
marshal.
battalion. The fire
Yeah,
department.
he'll
battalion,
send it
okay.
to us.
That would be good, actually.
Yeah,
He'll send it to us. You know, that's not a problem getting that information.
okay.
Move
Was
it
there
on.
any other, you're good? Good
Yeah,
with that?
absolutely.
I shared the document. Okay, and you're okay, what was your second?
Okay,
You had a second point?
yeah, the second point, is, looking at other parts of our district for protected bike lane sites. And one that I wrote up, it's really a coincidence, really, I wrote it up like 2 weeks ago, 155th. Between, Broadway and Edgecombe. Unfortunately, like about a week ago, there was a traffic fatality there. A minivan that was
These Vikings.
eluding the police. Ran over a cyclist on St. Nicholas and 155th. And it's really, you know, it really speaks volumes to the fact that the deaths on our roads, the burden is being carried by the cyclists, and the pedestrians. And so if there was a way we could take a look at that little space on West 155th Street, it's just 2 blocks long. And, just to jumpstart, some protected bike lanes in our district, we are ranked last in the city in terms of protected bike lanes, and what I mean by that is there's a separation between the bike lane and the vehicle or traffic, the motor traffic. So,
Felipe,
you know,
are
it's
you
just.
talking about
I just wanted to
Edgecombe
be part of the
Avenue?
discussion.
Felipe,
She said it was, on 155th, between Broadway and Edgecombe.
well, Edgecombe and Broadway don't mix together. I know what he's talking about. 155th, Edgecombe Avenue. Yeah, I know what he's talking
Yeah,
about.
from Broadway to
Yeah, it's
Edgecombe.
about 4 or maybe 3 city blocks,
That
but
hill.
really long blocks, yeah.
Uh,
So it's just something like that, you know, that I wrote up. It's on the edge of our district. It's really a small, tiny piece.
If it's
And
on the
it could
edge and
really
board,
do-
it's on the
it could
edge and
really
board
do
12 is
something
involved.
excellent.
It's on the edge of board 12 or
On the edge of board 12.
Yeah, it's on the edge of, yeah, so it would
then
be
board 12
the
would have to
south side.
respond. Board 12 might
Sorry?
have to, they may have to respond.
They may.
So Lyle, if you can hear us.
Lyle,
What's
answer
the
that question.
process if
Yeah,
if a-
the
if
borderline.
Community board wanted a new protected bike lane, or at least a survey.
I
Well-
would say to draft a resolution, and send it, to the DOT commissioner. And you'll get your response from DOT one way or the other.
You have to
And-
send it to us first, before I can send it to
did.
Ed. Yeah. Okay, and then we can pass it on to Ed.
Okay, so we'll share the resolution
Yeah,
next meeting.
Yeah.
And then we can.
but I would love to hear feedback from
Do you have everyone's email or?
Yeah,
You send it to everyone?
I just sent it to you, Solomon, and Carolyn, 'cause
I'll
I
share
didn't
it.
wanna, yeah, I didn't wanna blast everybody with an email.
No, I agree.
Michael, you gonna write it?
No, no,
No, Felipe
It's
already will
already
go.
written, Carolyn.
Okay, okay.
No, it's
Like
just,
submit it next month and then we'll forward it.
Yeah, but if you wanna discuss it,
I was just gonna say, yes, in general, we should be protecting or encouraging bike lanes in the city, like, look for
What's the general
example, right here,
consensus?
down to. If you look from right here to 125th Street. Like, it's just a wide sidewalk, nobody really uses it. I know Columbia is about to start construction, but this is like a perfect opportunity to have like bike lanes,
Yeah.
Get the
right? Like, we
general,
should be encouraging
get the
the
general
use.
consensus, everybody's in agreement?
Somebody's speaking right now. Sorry, we're trying.
Yeah, sorry, you might not hear him. Michael's speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he's hard to hear.
I would just like to put a
Sucking up the,
fine point on it, that
Yeah.
our only protected bike lane in this community board, other than a sliver on 110th, is the one that's currently closed on Cherry Walk. So
But
we,
isn't that a bike lane on St. Nicholas Avenue?
that's not
it's not a
protected,
protected bike
Not
lane.
a
it's not a
protected bike.
protected.
Not
I'm
that
going
they
to
use
December.
it properly anyway.
Right,
but
exactly, that's why.
Right.
Because the bicyclists zoom through the light, they don't
Right.
stop, so it's gotta be both ways.
Right,
We wanna
obviously.
protect them, but they're not
It's just-
immune.
Yeah, no, I know, the deaths don't go the other way,
Right,
that's what I'm
no,
saying,
I'm-
deaths are.
Right,
You know,
that is.
Right, like, we don't come back from that.
No, but, and I can say this because I have a girlfriend that was hit by a bike.
Right.
Who required surgery,
Right.
so it's a two-way thing, one is protected, but what's the sense of having to protect it when they?
So
Don't
here's
use it.
the thing, so having a protected bike lane, the stats yield that everybody gains the
There
safety
is no
benefit.
protected bike lanes, really.
The pedestrians become safer, the cyclists become safer, and the motorists have less collisions. So everybody wins.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it in the sense of not winning, I'm saying it in the sense of, I,
I hear you.
everybody sees.
But it goes back to
bicyclists-
enforcement, right?
But okay, if we can't get them to enforce not putting graffiti, some things have to be on the citizens. And so if I am a bike rider, which I have a bike, my responsibility is to do the right thing. To go with the flow of traffic, to do all the things that we're supposed, I'm for a protected bike lane. I'm against anybody losing their life.
Yeah.
But I also say that it's not a bubble where, oh, let's throw this all out there and it's still not being heeded.
No, exactly, but I think like
We
the.
gotta start somewhere.
The bike,
Yes,
the bike
that's
lanes
right.
south of 110th Street are a good example, that the delivery
move the-
drivers often use them to go in the wrong direction, which is not great, but it's because there's no southbound bike lane for them to use, so they use the northbound bike lane to go south. So if there was a better bike lane, they,
People use.
right, and and the delivery guys are tough, because they do have the outside influence of being rewarded for faster deliveries, and they get penalized for slower like, it's a little bit of an outlier, but.
Yeah, the people who use it to commute, the gentleman that I was talking to outside just now, he's a young 24-year-old kid. He works at Columbia at the medical center. He's trying to go to medical school. He lives at 139th Street and he does not have any protection from 139th to 168. And this is a young kid. This is a 24-year-old. Like, we lose somebody that has that sort of trajectory, like we all do.
We don't lose if anybody.
Yeah.
So that. is
Um,
not a-
All right, but
That being
we're
said,
all in
I like-
consensus
Yeah, I
that,
like the fact of the
Right.
protected, so we didn't even have to have that last part about whose life is longevity, that wasn't necessary. Yeah, no, it's 24-year-old, 42-year-old.
Can we stay on topic?
So,
Riley,
yeah.
please,
Yeah.
Solomon, move the
Yeah,
meeting
yeah,
on, okay, so we're going from one thing to the other. Move the meeting on.
It's a life. You don't wanna lose a life.
But these are actual stories.
Okay.
You call.
so yeah, so we have consensus that you're gonna write this up.
Yeah.
We'll
It's already written up.
review it, and then we'll discuss it next month. I'll send it
Yes.
out to everyone.
Yes,
All right, okay, so we'll move on. Anything else before we adjourn?
before we close.
Anything? Juan, you've been quiet today. Usually you're more outspoken.
Oh, there's so many things to say, but.
Theodore.
Okay, all right.
Motion to
I'm
adjourn.
calling you tomorrow.
Okay, motion to
Okay.
adjourn. Can I get a
So
second?
moved. So moved.
So
Okay. 7:46 or 8,
Yes,
sorry.
7:48.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Ted.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Monique.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
Good night,
Rob.
Thanks.
I'm
everyone.
going
Thank
to
you,
try
Heather.
I'm going to try to be at the December meeting. Trust
Okay,
me.
All right.
I know you will.
That's
Yeah.
that would be a joy. I hope to
I-
be there as well.
Yeah, I'm trying, Monique. I am.
That's all you can do. I just
Yeah.
forwarded to Solomon and you, Carolyn, an email I sent over the summer. Just check it out when you get a chance.
Okay.
And hi, Chris.
Right.
Hey, Monique,
Yeah,
I didn't give you a buzz.
Akil, I'll call you tomorrow.
All right. Good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Good night.
Deshaun.
Yeah, good night.
Monique, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, please do,
Okay.
but not tonight.
Right,
Not
exactly.
tonight.
All right, tomorrow.
Right,
Okay.
right. Solomon, I'll
weekend.
talk with you
Thank you, Chris.
tomorrow.
Sure, give me a call.
Okay, yeah, we'll do.
All right,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.